Greetings, peace, blessings, and wellness. Welcome back. I'm Jovhannah Tisdale, the Sacred Wellness Alchemist. I am really blessed and grateful to be here with you. Today is going to be a video about my deck collecting journey, as well as where I'm at with it and why I feel like my collection is complete. So, I started reading tarot, I want to say officially like in 2005. I was always interested in divination, in magic, in ghosts, in witches, and witchcraft as a child. But there's no Amazon, there was nowhere for me to go and purchase a tarot deck as a child. I love cards. And I remember seeing Miss Cleo, and I would like shuffle the cards and put them out. Did not know that, at the time that was cardomancy, but I just knew that there was something in it for me. And so I got my first deck, I think in like 2005, somewhere around there. And it was a traditional Rider-Waite deck. It's somewhere on my shelf. During that time, I was going through a very traumatic situation. And that's actually what led me to start reading cards, because I could not understand life. I could not make sense of anything that was happening. And I needed some answers. Like, I couldn't hear myself. And, I was dealing with depression, anxiety, PTSD, all side effects from being in an abusive relationship, and that like just ripping my life apart. Like, it was just a lot. And I started leaning on yoga, meditation, prayer, energy healing, crystals, all of these different tools to help me navigate that space. And it was working with tarot that helped me start to understand everything. Um, it's so funny because during that time period, I'll say between like 2005 and 2000, probably even 2011, I would pull the Tower and the Death card in almost all of my readings. So I knew that that did not mean that I was actually going to die, but there were a lot of things that were ending, and there was a lot of drama and pain and things that needed to be released and healed in my life. So for me, it was a cycle of walking with that scorpionic transformative energy. And so those are probably two of my favorite cards. And when they come up, I know it means some shift is about to happen. Um, but because the Rider-Waite deck has all of the harsher imagery at that time, I could not connect to those cards. The people didn't look like me. It was very antiquated. And I was just like, what the fuck is this? So I actually purchased the Angel Tarot cards that at the time Doreen Virtue co-created with Radley Valentine. Those are somewhere on my shelf too. Oh, it's right there. Boop, boop. I have 2 copies of that deck. And so it was with Angel Tarot cards that I learned how to read, and that was a more gentler way of me understanding it and exploring. And then I think I had got like the Goddess Oracle deck that Doreen made at the time. And then I was able to go back to the Rider-Waite and start to understand that. And I'll say the first few decks that I had, there was a crystal deck that I purchased by Simmons and Naisha. He wrote a lot of the like consciousness of crystals books and stuff. I have several of his books. I want to say his name is Robert Simmons. I have their deck. That was one of my first decks. And then I had a lot of the Doreen decks because that was what was popping at the time. And her work, as well as Radley Valentine's work, was a huge part of me understanding my own intuition, of, learning divinatory practices and things like that. So that's where my collecting began. I had a fairly small collection, probably like 7, maybe 10 decks, just a couple, maybe 3 tarot, 7 oracle. And then decks would call out to me. So then I would acquire decks that called out to me, or ones that I felt a connection to, or that popped up, or just sometimes I would be in a store and like I would see lights around the deck, or it would like kind of flash or something like that. Most of the decks that I have are ones that did call out to me. There have been a few that I purchased, especially like when I started getting more into Kickstarters. I was like, oh, I've got to have this and I got to have the whole set. And I don't do that anymore. I think I have 2 decks that are outstanding on Kickstarter, and then I've just kind of backed away from that because I just have, you know. Um, my collection is very large. Once it got to like 300, I started to think more mindfully about what I was collecting. I started to consider, okay, I already have this many animal themed decks. So I really need this. What does this deck offer that the ones that I have don't offer? And generally there wasn't much. So it didn't make sense for me to continue buying. Also, there was a period of time when most of my collection was in storage, so I could not work with them. During that time, I was buying more decks just because I felt like I didn't have any, and there were a lot that came out that I really liked. And so I think I kept like 20 decks with me. The rest went to storage, and then I think I probably in that time period acquired maybe 100 other decks. So now I have 422 decks. I don't think that counts. I'll have to check my database, but I don't think that includes the ones that I have in Kickstarter. Let me check that because that actually makes a difference. Dun, dun, dun. Because I forgot about the Kickstarters, because these ones have been like, it's been maybe a couple years, I think. It feels like a couple years. One of them, I think the decks are finally here in the States. So probably by the end of November, I should have that. And the other one, I have no idea. But even with Kickstarters, I would be fairly diligent in like looking to see, looking at the art, because there were some that I just bought just to be buying it because at the time I had the resources and it was nothing for me to spend $100 here and there on decks. And now I'm just in a different phase of my life where like I finally feel my collection is complete. Because I haven't had access to my decks for quite some time, I do want to work with them for a while before I start to consider which ones I would like to like release or sell or whatever. And I feel pretty good about that. Before, like there are some that I would never get rid of. There are some that I'm like, yeah, this could probably go somewhere else. And then there are some that I'm not sure because I haven't gotten a chance to really sit down and work with them. But I'm just really grateful and proud of myself for being in a space where I feel complete with my collection. And as of now, it's 422. And it's very interesting because I knew that there was going to be a special number where I would know like this is it. And 422 was that number. I didn't decide on that. That's just where it went. And this is not deck number 422. 422 actually has not arrived. This would technically be 421. Based on date of purchase, I think. Yeah, because no, this is 422 because this was the last deck that I purchased. 421 has not yet arrived. And that deck, I cannot wait to get my hands on. So let me tell you why this beautiful deck, the Artist Decoded Tarot, is the best deck to close out my cycle of collecting with. To bring my cycle into a full moon phase where it's full. I don't feel the need to add anything else. I have always loved art and photography and just creating with like clay. I loved oil pastels as a child, and I always wanted to like be an artist, whether it's coloring, whether it's using markers, whether it's doodles, whether it's painting on canvas. Love art. I once had an art studio. I produced over 500 works of art and was in the process of like starting to sell my art because people were asking like, well, how can I buy this? Do you sell your work? And I was like, self-taught artist. It was just something that really made my soul happy. But I wound up in the midst of everything that I was going through with the abusive relationship and depression, anxiety, all of that. Hold on, I gotta get comfortable. I wound up losing everything, and I had invested well over $10,000 in my art supplies. I didn't have like Dollar Tree store stuff. I had professional quality Winsor & Newton oil paints, Winsor & Newton brushes, like the pure red sable, Kolinsky. Like I had quality stuff, sketchbooks. I stretched my own canvases. I use all mediums. I use oils. I loved oil paints. Those were my favorite. Acrylics, watercolors, gouache, soft pastels, hard pastels, chalks, oil pastels, another favorite medium of mine. And I lost everything, and that absolutely devastated me. It felt like my soul like had died. Um, Painting for me was a very spiritual and meditative process. Whenever like I was stressed or I couldn't figure anything out, I would just sit and I would decide, okay, like what medium, what colors do I want to use? It was all a very intuitive process, and spirit would speak to me as I was painting. I would get clarity, I would receive information. I was the happiest in my art studio. And once I lost that, it was like I lost my way. Like I didn't have that crutch or that safe or sacred space anymore. I'm so sorry. um because it was that much a part of me, and I have not painted like that since then. I've only been into art stores twice, and this has been over, oh my God, in 3 more years, it would have been 2 decades, and I've only been into art stores twice since then. Once I walked into Hobby Lobby by myself and I cried. It was a very hard thing. And then I took my daughter into Michael's like a couple weeks ago to get her, actually 3 times, because I went to Michael's before. I went to get her some art supplies. And I would go to this art gallery last year before, was it last year? They closed down, but there was an art gallery right next to my therapist's office that I found. And I would just go in there and sit and look at paintings. I got to see Rembrandt, Degas, who else? They had some original Dr. Seuss works in there. So that was very healing for me. I think they had some, did I say Rembrandt, Degas? Um, who else? Oh, I can't believe I'm forgetting. And then a lot of other artists. I got to see some really, really beautiful art. And that was so soothing to my soul. I still desire to like paint again. One of my favorite sounds is the sound of a brush against canvas. Like that sound is so, so therapeutic for me, which is why this deck means everything to me. I was talking with one of my tarot friends, and I was saying how like decks don't do it for me anymore. A lot of the style of art has changed, where it's fairly minimalistic, and that just does not appeal to me. I like complicated art, I like abstract art. I like art with layers. I like art that has depth and texture, and that gives my eyes something to feast upon, where it's like looking into all the things, because sometimes I'll see, a shape within a shape. And some of the more like flat style or minimalistic style art just doesn't do that. And that doesn't mean it's not good. It just means that it doesn't give me that sensual experience. And by sensual, I mean it doesn't stimulate my senses. It doesn't really stimulate my intuitive sense. It doesn't make me curious to go into the picture and things like that. So I like complicated art. That's what I'm gonna call it now, since people are making like fish. Never mind. I was gonna say something that some people might not like. So let me not do that. So this deck I saw somehow on Amazon, and I saw it and I was like, oh, that looks really nice, because it just had got to see the box and just a few of the cards. But I was kind of on the fence about it because a lot of deck creators, and this is another reason why I'm like good on decks, because a lot of deck creators are creating decks that are just that are pip style decks where the minors are not well detailed, or the art's not the same as on the majors. Like the majors are very like beautiful and there's art, and then you get to the minors and it's just the symbol on the card, or just not as the art wasn't as well thought out or whatever. And so I was afraid that this deck might be like that. But every time I saw it and I was like, okay, it's still Libra season. I feel like I need a deck. And something was like, just get the deck. Like, look at that. Okay. Like, look at the art. Something told me just to get it. I was like, this right here, the image on the box is what did it. I was like, I think this deck is going to surprise me. And so, I went through the guide. First of all, before I even talk about the cards, can we talk about this guidebook? Because it is chock full of information. And I love that they have a color picture of the card on it. So the guidebook is beautiful. It gives a very great overview into, not even an overview, like if you know nothing about tarot and you read this book, you'll walk away knowing quite a bit, because they include like the symbols from the tree of life. They give a history of tarot. They tell you how to use the cards. Gives you the different symbols found in the deck. It talks about the four world, like stuff like they went in. It gives you like the zodiac, the figures on the they call them cherubic figures. They're the ones that are on the wheel. And then it goes into each card. You've got the number, the card name that we traditionally call the Fool. And then it tells you like the title of the card. So the Fool, they call the naive dreamer. And then you'll see these symbols here that represent the symbols that they talked about in the beginning of the book, the different Kabbalic symbols that it's or connection to the tree of life, the hidden spheres, that's a symbol, the four worlds. So they give you all these different symbols, and the cherubic aspect, the whatever planet and element zodiac that the card represents or connects to. And it gives like a good amount of information on the card. And then you've got the reversed and upright meanings. And then it kind of gives you something to consider in this imagine section, which I thought was a very beautiful touch. And it does that for all the cards, not just the majors. So this is the 9 of Cups, and you still have a good 2-page spread of info. Speaking of spreads, I don't know. I think there were spreads in here. Oh, maybe not. Let me look at the table of contents. Yeah, there aren't any spreads, but they went in on the art that makes up for it. So yeah, that is the Artist Decoded Tarot Guidebook. It has 175 pages of straight up information. That's the back of the book, and that's the front. This is beautiful. It's a nice soft cover. Um, so the cards come in this little box that was inside this big box, and that's the Magician, I believe, and I believe this is the Wheel, or that could be the World. I'm not sure. I did go through and like look at some of the cards. And this deck really brought tears to my eyes. And why is because the art, I am in love with the art on this deck. So this is the back of the cards. It's got a nice matte finish. It's smooth. I haven't tried to shuffle them, or have I? No, they're still in order. I haven't tried to shuffle them. The cardstock is actually pretty thick, but it's still flexy. As you can see, like it takes a bit of effort to like bend the whole deck. So good thick cardstock. So there's the back. They're reversible if that matters to you. And I don't know if I'm going to show the whole deck. We'll see what happens. Let me make space just in case. But yeah, like the art on this deck really, really spoke to me. And so I bought this because it was still Libra season. It's like, it's still my birthday season. I want to treat myself. And this is what I treated myself to, in addition to a couple other decks, which I deserve it because I've been good. Haven't done too much. So there is our Fool. Like that, what? Like this just really, my soul was like, this is the one. Like, we don't need any more. We're good. So look at the waves back there. That looks like the head of a horse. What's that chess piece in the chess? You know what I'm talking? Not the bishop. What is it? The knight. That looks like the knight in the thing. And then you've got this flower here, and you've got the figure where it looks like they're sprouting wings. And then that looks like a seal to me down there. And you've got these rocks and the waves crashing. Like, there's so much to look at in this card. Art like this to me moves. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it moves. Like, I can see the scene unfolding and the trail that they have taken to get here. Like, once the Fool died, and that looks like a lion, right? You can see the snout right there. It looks like Mufasa. Like, if the Fool was to dive into the ocean, where would it take them? Would that be a safe thing to do? Because it is pretty rocky. Like, I don't know. It just, there's a lot going on. And are they even walking, or are they flying, or are they being carried on these beautiful like flowers? Like, I really love this deck. Like, the quality of the art, and I don't even know if there's anything like I could say about. And so these type of decks, I don't mind there being a border, because to me, I don't know, it makes it more dynamic. It's almost like, so in art is always framed, and usually with the frame you put a mat or a double mat to set the picture. And that's what this reminds me of. Like, I can literally see these paintings hanging in an art gallery. Hell, I would love to have a couple pieces hanging on my wall because they're so beautiful. And it's been a while since I've come across a deck that is a work of art like this. Like, this is extraordinary. So there is our Magician. And another thing that I love is that the figures don't have faces. I don't know if you can like see. There's no face. And honestly, I could never tell. It's like, is he standing facing frontward or backwards? Is that the back of his head? But yeah, they don't have faces, which I think is very interesting. It's very surreal, very ethereal, very liminal. There's the high priestess. Look at those blues and the way the background, like, oh, just looking at this, like, I just reminds me of like what it takes to build a painting. And you do the under sketching and the under painting and then the colors being mixed on the palette. Like, this just makes my soul so happy. It just does. Oh my gosh. There we have the Empress. Are those mangoes? They put mangoes in here. That's special to me. I could be wrong, but I think those are mangoes. So they're going to be mangoes. Like, just the way the look at the background, the way the colors like kind of blend together, and like it's just it's so beautiful. I love this Emperor. And I like too how the colors kind of like build on each other. Like, she has a little bit of red and then it flows into the Emperor who has more red. So it's like just fascinating. Like, all of that power and that raw energy is like spilling over, which balances out, the white, which is delicate and soft. So you can kind of see that balance of masculine and feminine in these cards as well. And there we have the Hierophant. And I like that there's like a group of people down here for some reason. That to me like makes more sense than like the two figures that we traditionally see, where it's like a big ceremony or even like church, a gathering. And again, you've got the red and the white in this card as well. The Lovers, how beautiful is this? I'm gonna try to stop like gushing over the card. And look at this Chariot, those beautiful wings. It's just beautiful. And there is our Strength card. Was this the lion that we saw in the Fool, watching over the Fool until he was strong enough? And I like, you can see like the cubic, like it's almost like he's coming out of a crystal, because when we think about crystals, they're strong. They also transmit energy. And so then you're able to like come on, y'all. Like, this deck is everything. It really is. Here's the Hermit. I like how he's glowing, because we carry the light within us. We are the light. And sometimes we have to go away by ourselves so that we can see that, right? And kind of shut out the noise and what everybody else is telling us how bright our light should be, what we should look like, and all that stuff. And it's like, no, like, I'm gonna shine my light the way I want to. There's another deck that I want to share with you guys, that I discovered recently. And anyways, let me get through this deck, yo. Like, it seriously touches my soul. It's been a minute since I found a deck that, like, the biblical tarot, definitely yes, but the art is completely different. So like, to see art, and the art is like, yes, does something for me. So there is our Wheel of Fortune. So beautiful. And here we have Justice. I like that sword. And this just, oh man. The Hanged Man. Look at the colors, how colorful these cards are. I like the way they use the color because it like with the emperor, like that was very powerful, very strong. Like you wouldn't come at him crazy with all the red that was in that card and the way that it was a darker theme around it. And then you have the hangman. Like this actually doesn't look so bad, right? Sometimes when we see the hangman, it doesn't feel like a good or supportive place to be in, but in reality it's the sacred pause. And sometimes, right, like you just got to pause. And it almost looks like he is now becoming the tree. So did he stay there too long? Or, are these vines wrapped around his legs to protect him or to save him? And it's almost like there's something or someone off to the side there. And then we have death. I don't know why, but I love this. Like there's glitter on the skull. Like, I don't know. I really like that. And it almost looked like he had gold in his mouth. But yeah, like I like this death card. It's a different take on that. And it almost looks like this, right? It's like the head. So it's almost like this is what's left after. And then we have temperance. I also really love this devil card. To me, it's like the reverse of the lovers. I'd pull it out, but I'm trying to like stop talking so much so this won't be a super long video. But I love this devil's card. It's almost like they're not bound here. So it's like what's going on? But this to me reminds me of like a clown costume. So and it also emphasizes the choices that we're making. Like, are you making choices that are good for you? Or are you choosing to stay in energies that are not? This deck is gorgeous. There's the Tower card that looks like the Phoenix about to like rise up to me. Like when I saw that, that's the first thing I saw. And you can see like the people kind of standing around down there at the bottom. There's the star. I love all of that blue. God, that's beautiful. There's the moon. There's the sun. That's so cute. And there is judgment. That is beautiful as well. Like the way it's like coming out of the clouds and you can see the people down there. And I like the different like colors and the shadows in the clouds. Uh-oh. And there is the world. So you can see in the four corners the different figures. It looks almost like there's like a person like here dancing behind them or like a mermaid or something. And I like that they're facing that way because it's almost like they're ready to like go take on whatever it is that's coming next in the journey. Okay, I'm gonna try to like get through these a little quicker because this deck is beautiful. So here we have the wands. This is the ace. There's the two. Love the colors. The three, like it's almost as if they have opened up a portal, right? Then there's the four of wands. I cannot wait to do an interview with this deck. Here's the five. doesn't this look like a party or something? Like this reminded me when I had to go to the grocery store and it was super packed. I was at Trader Joe's, love Trader Joe's, but it was like just so many people and it was overwhelming. And I was like, okay, my social battery is like running out. It's too much going on. There's people everywhere. I don't like it. I want to go home. That's what this reminds me of, like being in the middle of like a crowd at a concert during a parade and it just being too much stimulation. And then there's the Six of Wands. Look at the paintbrushes. That's what did it for me. When I saw that the wands were paintbrushes, it just like, oh, my heart melted. Like that is what brought the tears to my eyes. I was like, oh my gosh. And like, yeah, so this is the 7. Look at the paintbrushes. This made me so happy. And the 8 of Wands, all the paintbrushes. There's the 9 of Wands. And there's the 10 of Wands. Got the Page. The Knight. I like that these all have pyramids. The Queen, you can still see her sunflower and the kitty cat there. And there is the King. And the salamander there with him. And then we've got the Cups. Hold on, I still was trying to check to see what was going on with my my Kickstarters. Oh. Okay, so while that loads, here we have the Ace of Cups. There's the Two of Cups. There's nothing more amazing than like sharing a moment like this with a friend or someone that you care about and you're just enjoying the view. Here we have the Three of Cups. This right here gives me charmed energy. It gives me like, we're going to go do witchy shit. And there's the Four of Cups. For whatever reason, I feel like because they don't have faces, like to me, that looks like the back of their head and they're just completely ignoring everything that they have, worried about what's going on over there. Mind your business. Okay, so it's the Iwa Pele Tarot and it's like the Practical something tarot that I'm waiting for. Practical Tarot. Yep, those are the only two that I am waiting on. So I wanted to check real quick to see if they're in my database. I don't think they are. Nope. So that means I have 424. Yep, so it'll be 424. Okay, so here we have the Five of Cups. I really like that it shows this journey. But it's like, because the other two cups are here, so it's like you're leaving life as you know it behind. Like you're walking away from all of that and you're going to go. And I love that yellow. It's giving like autumn. I like that. And here we have the Six of Cups. There's the Seven of Cups. The Eight of Cups. The 9. There's the 10 of Cups. I like the Page. You can see the fish there. And the Knight. Look at all those cups that the Knight has. They look like buckets of paint. And it's almost like he's standing in front of a big canvas. the Queen of Cups, and there is the King of Cups. When I'm looking at these kings, it feels like they're like sitting somewhere off where they can look down and see everything else happening in their suit. So here we have the Ace of Swords. There's the Two of Swords. These remind me of palette knives. The Three. We've got the Four of Swords. The Five of Swords. Him in this green, just I don't know, but I really love the green. It makes me think of the heart chakra for some reason with the Five of Swords. And there's the Six of Swords. There's the Seven. The Eight of Swords. The Nine of Swords. Ooh, this Ten of Swords is brutal. And it doesn't even like display like someone, this looks like something out of a scary movie. This reminds me of Freddy Krueger, those like, I don't like it. Here's the Page of Swords. Yeah, that Ten of Swords, and it's not even that graphic, but it's just very like, whew. Here's the Knight of Swords. There's the Queen, and then the King, and then we move into the Pentacles. Let me see. Yeah, so that would be 424. Okay. We've got the Ace of Pentacles. There's the Two of Pentacles. Look at this Three of Pentacles. They're working together to do a mural. I like this Four. This Four says, I am secure, like all that gold. Like, yeah, I'm good. They got their glass of wine. They got a crown on their head. I like this. And this Five of Pentacles feels more like going to get help versus like, you know, when we see the figures and they're outside looking destitute, this is like, I know where to go. I'm not going to sit around because I know I'm worthy and deserving of getting the resources that I need. So let's go. And there's the Six of Pentacles. We've got the Seven, beautiful garden. The Eight of Pentacles. I love this. The artists in their studio. You can see like all their materials on the table. That's definitely one of my favorites. And there we have the Nine of Pentacles. I love the purple tone because purple is regal, it's royalty. This Ten of Pentacles is amazing. You can see all the different people in here. And it's also shaped like the Tree of Life. There's the Page of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles. We got the Queen of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles. So that is the breathtaking, the beautiful, the Artist Decoded Tarot. And I love reading in the guidebook about how this deck came to be. I think it was just beautifully done. this art is like some of the best art that I have seen on a deck in a minute. And really grateful that this was published and put out so that I could add it to my collection. This reminded me of like why I started collecting decks. And part of that is because I love art. And, you know, a lot of the decks that I had like really gorgeous artwork and different types of art. And so I feel like this deck really brought it full circle for me. And there is something very healing about finding this deck, receiving this deck, purchasing it. My hand is pulsating as I'm talking. Like this was, I mean, oh my God, this really did something for my soul. And I cannot wait I already know which crystal I'm going to pair it with. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. It's going to be great. I may possibly edge these. I don't know. Maybe gold or black, but I think I won't because it will take away from the clean border and I don't want to mess that up. So that is the Artist Decoded. It is beautiful, amazing art, great quality cards. The guidebook is packed with information. I haven't even made my way through that yet. I am so pleased with this. This was created by Jennifer Soudini and Yoshino. They did together a phenomenal job. Yeah, I don't know. I love the art. I love it, love it, love it. So this is artist and AI generated art. But it's really beautiful and it is riveting. It's very moving to me. This is this type of art that I love. It just, I could go into a gallery and like see these paintings hanging and just get lost in them. So that is it, my friends. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and feel free to comment, share, and be on the lookout for more videos, like tarot videos, as well as just other video content that I will be creating soon. All right. Bye.